If you're going to make an insane amount of money, you're gonna have to live life like you make an insane amount of money. It doesn't just mean buying the fastest cars or flying in the flashiest jets. It means moving to a postcode that'll have the mailman proud to deliver your mail. After all, there's nothing like the subtle flex of living in an extremely expensive neighborhood, surrounded by equally wealthy people. There might not be that many luxurious and exclusive neighborhoods around, but if you're gonna live like a billionaire, you're gonna have to pick the right one. So what are the most expensive neighborhoods in the world? And which one are you gonna move into after making your first couple billion? Knightsbridge, London. Hands down one of the most desirable neighborhoods in the United Kingdom, and located in the extremely popular city of London, Knightsbridge is one of the most expensive residential streets in the whole city, with average property prices reaching £15.6 million, 33 times the cost of your average London home. And that's really saying something, considering how London is already one of the most expensive cities in the world to live in. The population of Knightsbridge is a little over 25,000, with an average household income of about £55,000. You know, the kind of cash you need to be earning to live here, in a house at least. Although with average property prices that go up to $9,000 per square foot, I reckon being homeless here wouldn't be free either. Developers have really taken advantage of Knightsbridge's status and filled the place with all sorts of five-star hotels, designer boutiques, luxury car depots, and a couple of embassies, because even governments weren't going to skip out on this luxury. Knightsbridge is also filled with amazing homes and upscale clubs, and it's located near the famous Hyde Park to top it all off. Big surprise, this place has attracted quite a few famous people, like David and Victoria Beckham, Kylie Minogue, and 2 members of the Rolling Stones, to name a few. This neighborhood hasn't always been this glamorous though, but after a couple of centuries of some much-needed government-sponsored refurbishment, it's become one of the most prestigious residential areas in the world, holding the immensely prestigious One Hyde Park, and even worthy enough to make this King Luxury list. Avenue Montaigne. If you're looking to live the rich, sophisticated life in Paris, then get ready to mark this neighborhood on your map, cause this is the place for you. Located in the 8th arrondissement of Paris, this uber-exclusive residential neighborhood has attracted some of the most wealthy and famous people from around the world, and it's been doing just that for the past 350 years. Meaning this neighborhood isn't just steeped in luxury, it's dripping with cultural significance as well. Avenue Montaigne wasn't always this exclusive and expensive, but these days, it has an average price of $26,000 per square meter. It's filled with jewelers and upscale designers, and I mean really upscale. In 2008, a jeweler on this street was robbed of more than $108 million worth of diamond rings, necklaces, and luxury watches. This is the kind of jewelry you're only going to find in the most exclusive stores, in the most exclusive neighborhoods, or in the back of a shady van. Avenue Montaigne is also home to the incredible Hotel Plaza Athénée, a 120-year-old grand hotel with 154 rooms and 54 luxury suites. A night's stay at this hotel can run you up to $20,000, and that's just for the room. In true French fashion, this hotel features a whole host of incredible dining experiences, each as expensive as the last. Atherton, California. Tucked away in a small, quiet little town in San Francisco, you can find one of the most expensive neighborhoods in the United States of America. A neighborhood where even the modest houses here go for millions of dollars. Atherton is home to some of the wealthiest people around, and home to some incredibly large estates belonging to Silicon Valley's biggest companies. And with a $7 million median property sale price, it's likely to stay that way for quite some time. No, seriously, the median mortgage price here is $5.5 million. Don't pack your bags just yet. Atherton might be serene and exclusive, but it just might not be the place for you. Now, heavy spenders like Oracle founder Larry Ellison and Microsoft co-founder Paul Allen, they get to enjoy everything Atherton has to offer by buying up property in the area. On the cheaper side of Atherton's luxury, you have 307 Wall Street, a beautiful bit of real estate worth about $5 million. It covers about 3,700 square feet of space and comes with 4 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms. house. On the other hand, Atherton's most expensive sale was Paul Allen's massive estate, which he sold for $35 million. The estate spans 1.9 acres and is quite a bit larger than most homes in the area, with a main house that's about 18,000 square feet in size, plus a 2-bedroom guest house. Yeah, it's exactly as luxurious as you think a $35 million home in such an expensive neighborhood is. Ostazhenka, Moscow. Russia has its own fair share of billionaire oligarchs and crazy wealthy residents, so obviously they'd need somewhere to spend their massive stacks of money. And that is when they aren't buying up all the luxury property in the United States. Ostazhenka is one of the oldest streets in Russia, and it's aged like fine wine. And like any good wine, it's incredibly expensive. The most expensive place in Russia, to be more specific. You can find some incredibly popular landmarks in Ostazhenka, like the Kremlin, the Pushkin Museum, and the Cathedral of Christ the Savior. It's basically a tourist's dream, as long as you don't try to move in there. Prices on this street can get incredibly expensive. Over the last decade, several prestigious housing units were built here. The most expensive of these apartments ever sold was a 5-level property located in Crystal House for $48 million. So unless you're packing some serious cash on your trip to Russia, I recommend you stick to sightseeing. And what a sight to see. Ostazhenka features some of Moscow's most sought-after restaurants and incredible Art Nouveau buildings. And hey, if you stick around long enough, you might even get to meet some Russian oligarchs. Doesn't that sound like a blast? Fifth Avenue, New York. The wealthiest people from all over the world always tend to flock to New York. I wonder why. Could it be the food, the weather, or maybe the unparalleled sense of luxury only New York can possibly offer? You tell me. Not every part of New York is glamorous, though. You take a wrong turn and you might get mugged in a subway. You take the right turn, though, and you'll get to see the sights of Fifth Avenue, one of New York City's most luxurious locations. People have been flocking to Fifth Avenue since the 1900s, and it's been catering to the incredibly wealthy for a long time. The average price per square meter for property here is $28,000, and I thought New York was already an expensive place to live. The most expensive properties sold on Fifth Avenue are along the stretch between 59th and 96th Streets, across from the ever-popular Central Park. Who wouldn't gladly drop millions to live along Central Park? Fifth Avenue is also one of the world's most expensive places for shopping and commercial rents, meaning you can only find the most expensive and luxurious brands here, from Armani to Ermenegildo Zegna. As a nice little bonus, Fifth Avenue is also home to a couple of America's most iconic landmarks, like the Empire State Building and the Rockefeller Center. Chemin de Route, Geneva. There are 2 countries you knew for sure were going to be on this list: Switzerland and Monaco. I'm happy to let you know you were correct. Of course, a neighborhood in Switzerland was going to make the cut. As for Monaco, well, you'll just have to stick around to find out. Located in the heart of Switzerland's Coligny, close to the shores of Lake Geneva, is the prestigious Chemin de Route. If you're looking to move into one of the mansions this neighborhood has to offer, well, get ready to fork over some serious dough. Property prices here average about $37,000 per square meter. Not exactly the most surprising thing in the world, too. I mean, most of the mansions here have more land than most other streets in the area. And you know they come with landscaped gardens with massive swimming pools. And thanks to the strategic location of the town, they get to overlook a beautiful lake as well, and enjoy views of Geneva's famous Jet d'Eau. With all these factors taken into consideration, of course the record price for a house on this street is $36 million. I would expect nothing less. Unless I'm buying, that is. Patterson Hill, Singapore. Singapore has grown exponentially into one of the wealthiest countries in Asia, which means they aren't just sporting a whole host of billionaires, they sport more than their fair share of luxury locations. And that's where Patterson Hill comes in. Widely considered Singapore's own Billionaire's Row, this cul-de-sac is home to some of the most expensive homes in all of Singapore, with the average property price per square meter being $42,500. Located in the prestigious District 9, a residential area within close proximity to the quite popular Orchard Road shopping belt. This place features a collection of designer boutiques and Michelin-starred restaurants. The most expensive condominium you can find here is known as The Mark. And to put it simply, this is an address that speaks for itself. The Mark was conceived to meet the desire for large, luxurious living spaces within the metropolitan city of Singapore, and for very wealthy people to pay for these large, luxurious living spaces. Constantly revered for its bold and innovative architecture architecture and design. There isn't any location quite like the Mark in Singapore, with its interiors designed by Hermes and a private lap pool in each apartment. Big surprise it's located in Patterson Hill. This place is glamorous enough to have attracted former Facebook co-founder Eduardo Saverin and former Miss Singapore beauty queen Rachel Coombe, so you know it's the real deal. Avenue Princess Grace, Monaco. Yeah, who are we kidding? Of course Monaco is going to be on this list. Not only do they host the F1 Grand Prix and the annual Monaco Boat Show, this country is just bursting with incredibly expensive homes. You can even find the most expensive penthouse in the world, Odeon Towers Sky Penthouse here. So of course it's a melting pot for Europe's super rich. Nearly 35 out of every 100 Monaco residents is reportedly a millionaire. They gotta find somewhere to spend all that cash, and Avenue Princess Grace is just the place. Besides, with an average property price of $86,000 per square meter, it's not going to be very hard to spend all your money here. This neighborhood isn't just super expensive because it's in Monaco. I mean, that helps, but this place also features some incredible properties. At its peak, prices on the street surpassed $135,000 per square meter, which is frankly just nuts. Thanks to space constraints, Monaco isn't exactly the largest country in the world after all. Most of these luxury homes are now rental only. But don't think for a second that diminishes just how exclusive this neighborhood is. If you want to live here, you have to get permission to live in Monaco to start with. And gaining residency here isn't something any old millionaire can do. You need to prove that you have somewhere to live in Monaco, which is kind of a big step, considering how some of us can't even afford a single square foot of this country. And you have to open a bank account and deposit at least 500,000 euros. Yeah, good luck renting a place on Avenue Princess Grace. Kensington Palace Gardens, London. Widely considered London's own Billionaire's Row, mostly because of the incredibly wealthy people that live there and the luxurious properties. This is without a doubt one of the most expensive neighborhoods in the world. I mean, when you're next door neighbors with literal royalty, it better be. The average property price per square meter here is a crazy $107,000. Homes here routinely change hands for as much as $195 million, for goodness sake. The arrival of the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge certainly didn't make things any cheaper either. And it turns out, they have their own palace here, set up for them long before they were even born. It's called Kensington Palace, hence the name of the neighborhood. Quite the astronomical flex when the whole neighborhood is named after your house, isn't it? This incredibly private neighborhood is home to the French, Russian, and Japanese embassies, and some incredibly wealthy billionaires as well. Wealthy people like Indian-born steel tycoon Lakshmi Mittal, who owns numbers 9A and 1819, and his next-door neighbor at number 17 is Russian billionaire Roman Abramovich, owner of the Chelsea Football Club. By far the most famous residents on this street are the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge and their 3 children. Even though technically Kensington Palace isn't on the same street, nobody gives one single hoot. Not when you can point down the road and say, that's where my neighbors, the English royalty, live. Pollock's Path, The Peak, Hong Kong. Overlooking Hong Kong Island and Victoria Harbor, we have possibly one of the most expensive neighborhoods in the world. And frankly, I wouldn't be surprised if it got that title thanks to the amazing views alone. Located in a city that has been ranked least affordable city to live in several times, The Peak has been favored by some of the wealthiest people Hong Kong has to offer. And for quite a long time now, the average price for property per square meter here is a crazy $120,000. So of course they'd want to come here. Prices in this neighborhood have been soaring thanks to chic new developments and luxury homes, and it just generally being gorgeous and secluded. In 2015, it was rumored that Jack Ma, the Chinese billionaire who founded Alibaba, purchased a $191 million mansion here. And even though the rumors were never confirmed, purchases like that aren't exactly crazy when it comes to this neighborhood. A few years earlier, Hong Kong movie star Stephen Chow tried his hand at developing a home in this exclusive and sought-after location. He developed Sky High, a luxury apartment, and to no one's surprise, it was a resounding success, setting the record in 2011 for his incredible $103 million sale. That same year, the former French consulate at 8 Pollock's Path sold for $75 million. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. When it comes to real luxury, even governments can't help but get a piece of that action. So which one of these neighborhoods are you moving into next? next. And if you like this video, be sure to give the video on the screen a click. I promise you'll love that one as well. See you there.